So from a global perspective, there are a number of other important countries to consider. One of which, of course, is China, and I was recently in China in December, and it seems clear to me that China this year is going to be very focused on internal activities. It's very much a political year in China with the upcoming Party Congress this fall, designed to give President Xi and his team a second term, and so I don't expect any kind of significant economic or policy adjustments, whether that's the currency or rates or adjustments to the state-owned enterprises, for example. I think there is a risk that between President Trump and President Xi, we get a little bit of a war of words, but I wouldn't expect anything more than that because I think both countries understand the importance of their relationship. Sticking with Asia, I think Japan is going to be a very important place in 2017. My view is that 2017 is the year that Japan returns to inflation, and I think that's going to be one of the single biggest geoeconomic policy shifts that we will see this year. I believe Japan will return to inflation for several reasons. First, we have a weak currency. Second, we have high oil prices. Third, we have fiscal stimulus. Fourth, we have a Bank of Japan that's designed to keep rates at very low levels. And finally, I think there's an element of consumer inflation expectations that have bottomed. I expect to see wage gains, which will be built upon a record low unemployment rate in Japan of 2.5%. I think all of those factors combined is likely to suggest that Japan will return to inflation in 2017. The other part of the world, of course, to cover is Europe. In Europe, I think my own view is we are past peak Euro and EU bearishness. In other words, all the angst about Brexit and all the concern about the upcoming elections in Germany and France and Holland, I think are overdone at this point. The reality is that the European economy is recovering, that you have a weak currency, loan growth is picking up and is well over 2%, which is quite good for Europe. You have the European Central Bank that is focused on continuing to be fully supportive with monetary policy, and you have a chance for fiscal policy to also help on this front. So to me, the idea that everyone should be super bearish Europe is a mistake, and I believe that the combination of Brexit and Trump actually suggests that Europe will grow closer together rather than falling apart. And when you think about it, countries that are relatively small in population, with poor demographics and aging populations, really don't have a very strong place in the global economy. Were they to split up and have Italy and Spain and Germany and France, all individual countries. I think Europe is going to recognize in the next couple of years that they're much more powerful together, and that Brexit and Trump kind of concerns are going to reinforce integration rather than disintegration. So where we are kind of in a net-net position, in my view, as we enter 2017, is we're a place where the global economy is on a slight upward trajectory, driven primarily by the developed economies, where inflation is likely to pick up, but only slightly, and where the risks are more along the lines of a policy mistake, particularly in this U.S. Fiscal and monetary joint venture, that the policy risk is more where we should focus our concerns rather than an economic slump, for example.